Good morning, Tim.
Good morning. It's nice to be with you. Today's a good day because we get to fly and go see Dad and Mom, cut a little bit of corn, and not a cloud in the sky. Somebody already flying out there. Look at them go. How are you doing today, Mr. Ditto?
I get a text from Tim usually a few days in advance, and he's like, hey, corn harvest at C&C Farm. Should we go see Mom and Dad and film the corn harvest?
Exactly.
And I start to get like butterflies in my stomach because I'm excited for it.
Because you're going to put some GoPros on some really cool stuff, like the corn header and the grain truck. And I'm going to take and show you today a corn mill, which this corn that we harvest is high moisture corn. So it doesn't go into like a silo or like a bin. It goes into a big pile and it ferments and becomes sweet.
Are your cows drunk all the time?
They're not. I mean, it's not a drunk thing. It's more of a, hey, this is corn. It's good. Please eat it. Whilst you're gaining weight.
please get fatter, faster. And every time that I've gone back to Mama's farm, I get a pack of her beef sticks.
Beef sticks or something, right? Those pepper sticks, right? If
that's the measure of the creation, then you just drink up, cows.
Drink up.
Drink up. All right, let's have a good flight heading out to Mom and Dad's farm.
Departure frequency 133.35, remain south of Interstate 90 at 3000.
There she is.
Our extraction point.
You need to get a picture of this.
Oh.
Straight out of the oven.
Straight out of the oven.
You got cookies?
And jerky.
Oh, Mom, that's how Mom works. Hey, Mom, how are you? Nice to see you.
Gloria. How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you.
So how was landing here?
Oh, it was smooth as butter.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Good. So I had the other sweatshirt that I had from you. Had it on, and the lady read, "What do you mean we love your dirt?"
Who said that?
This lady.
Oh, you're at the grocery store? Wearing my sweatshirt.
Well, we do. Do you have any dirt?
We'll take care of it. Look at that, Ma. You like it?
Yes. So awesome. Want me to?
There it is. There it is.
We do.
There it is. All right.
we had a super cool day back on the farm today.
Yeah, back again, back down to C&C Farms. It was corn harvest this trip.
Yeah, last time we were down there a couple of weeks ago, the corn was super green and very wet. And today it was mostly dry. Obviously, there's lots of varieties of corn, but this is not end up in your can of corn or your corn on the cob in the store. This is feed.
Yep.
Essentially,
it's designed as a cattle feed or an animal feed, whatever the animal might be. My family, like I mentioned earlier in the year, they would have planted this crop. They would have fertilized and planted this and prepared this crop back in the month of April.
You're going from combine hopper, and then from the I don't know what you call the combine's hopper.
Yeah, the hopper.
What you call
it?
The
bin. Yeah,
the bin. Yeah, and then his little arm, swings out.
That auger just dumps it right in.
Yeah, into the high. You call it a high speed hopper.
Yeah, the bank out wagon. Yep.
These guys in those big quad tracks.
Yeah, doesn't take too long to load the semi up, does it?
Boy, it does.
About a minute and a half or so.
Yeah.
It's not long at all. As we do that, the trucks get loaded, they get hauled over. The grain is weighed, and at that point, the grain transfers hands, and it is now owned by the beef producer, who is then going to put it in his pile, and we back it up and unload it and as quickly as possible and go back and get another round.
And then they go up these conveyor belts, and they're all feeding into these big hoppers.
Yep.
Which is slowly feeding out the bottom. I got a shot of it going down this conveyor and feeding into these little electric
roller mills. Yeah, roller mills. Yeah,
right. So that's where it gets chopped up a little.
That's where it essentially skips it, and it does get chopped up, but it's not pulverizing. It's just breaking it open, and then it drops out on that one conveyor belt and spits out on the end of it.
You were saying that, if the cow were to eat that, or anybody really were to consume that, it would just pass right through because
the whole kernel. Yeah, the whole kernel.
The kernel, it doesn't get digested.
Doesn't break down.
But as soon as you cut it in half, or cut it in a few pieces, then all of a sudden it becomes something that's palatable. Yeah. So it comes. You got, I don't know, there were probably 6 or 8 of those little milling machines, and then so it comes down, gets separated, comes back together, goes up that, just like shoots out onto the ground.
Yep, right onto the ground.
And then you got the big old Tonka trucks doing laps up there on the pile of corn.
What they're doing is they're dragging layer upon layer of that corn up into the pile. And that layer upon layer of that corn, there's 2 things happening. First, they're getting it up as high as they can get it. And secondarily, the weight of the machine is pushing down and compacting all of everything.
So that's an important part of the process.
Incredibly important part of the process.
Okay.
If you just throw corn on the ground, it'll rot. It'll rot. And so you've got to get it compacted. You've got to get the air out of it. Essentially, the oxygen escapes, and you would think, there's got to be some down there. Yeah, there's some, but in the same token, they get as much of it out as possible by doing those laps around and around. And in that large pile, the sugars separate, and the feed really becomes sweet. The feed really becomes palatable to the animal.
We get it in a big, gigantic yellow pile of awesomeness.
Yeah.
And then what do they do? I mean, you don't just take that and feed it to the cow. What else happens?
No, so then we go back into the discussion of the ration, and they'll come get a little bit of corn, they'll mix it with the hay. That particular feedlot actually is able to utilize secondary potatoes that don't go into French fries. They're able to actually get some starches and some of those items in, and they're able to do what they need to do there with that ration, and then they put it right in the bunk, right in front of the cattle, and the cattle eat it every day.
Like granola for the cattle.
It is granola. It is a very, very good. That's a great analogy. It's a very good, high protein, high energy. It makes the cattle feel good. It keeps them comfortable.
It is an amazing process when you look at the commercial side of the production of food and the careful, deliberate steps that are taken to make sure it all works effectively.
Correct.
It all works in a timely fashion, so that when you go to the grocery store, there is a healthy piece of meat there, there's a healthy, piece of corn there, whatever it is.
Yep.
That's what we're doing out here today.
Well, not only healthy but plentiful, that they're sufficient there, that your prices don't gyrate as much as they may in other areas of the world, that there's a consistent supply, and that is real important. As we continue to tell the story of the American producer, it goes without saying that they are willing day in and day out to be exactly where they need to be.
Well, we've had a great day in the airplane, great day with your family. I thank you again for taking me up.
I couldn't be more excited to continue to do these things and to to tell that story of agriculture that needs to be told to everybody and reminded to some. Like we say at Farmland Company, we love your dirt.